Good morning, guys. Just want to start this video off with a massive thank you to everyone for finally helping me hit that 1,000k subscriber mark. That's something I set out to do in September. So to do it in under 12 months is a massive help for me, and I just want to thank everyone that has subscribed. Today's video is based on getting your Land Rover ready for long trips, so you're not one of those statistics that all the Toyota boys talk about. I'm going to run you through what I check before we actually leave and the spare parts I carry. So stay tuned, because this might actually get you out of some trouble before you even hit the tracks. Let's get to it. Alright, so first up, we'll check wheels and tyres. So jack your car off of the ground and wobble your wheels up and down. This is checking for hub play, and then side to side. You don't go ridiculous side to side because you can possibly turn the other wheel if it's quite floating. And all you're checking for is play, which I don't have. It's moving the whole rack, so that's good. If you've got moving up and down, it's your hub assembly or loose wheel nuts, or possibly lower control arm. Just see where the movement's coming from, and if you got side to side movement, it's predominantly your steering arm or steering rack. So yeah, if you got steering movement, don't mess around with it, get the part straight away, like straight away. Another thing that I like to do before my trips as well, especially if there's a lot of corrugation, is I paint pen my lines on my lower control arm mounting bolts, so the camber bolts. I'll paint pen the nut to the thingo, and then when I'm doing a check over in the morning after a few days trips, I can just make sure none of them are coming loose or have been adjusted. Sorry, I'm out of breath this morning. Also, your brake pads are another big one to check. I use a little mirror and I put it in here, and then I can see both inner and outer pads, because sometimes they wear differently if your slides are a bit sticky. So make sure you check them as well, because you'll be amazed how quickly they wear once you start hitting dirt, especially if it's wet. Alright, it doesn't really matter for me because obviously my spare tyre is on the wheel carrier, but for anyone that has a spare tyre up underneath their car, just make sure that your actual little lowering mechanism works, because I know that a lot of people have had dramas of them seizing on. So just lower your spare tyre to the ground and raise it back up before you even take off for your trip. And while it's on the ground, make sure you've got air in that spare tyre, just in case you don't carry a compressor if you're just driving on the tarmac. Alright, so now we're under the rear of the disco. This is the rear diff. So looking at it from the right hand rear tyre, you'll see, try and hold this headlamp, this torch, so that you don't get the rain bung. The Allen keyhole is your level plug. So you want to be pulling that out and making sure that you have just a tiny bit of oil coming out of that hole. You don't want heaps, just the smallest amount of trickle. Right, if you want more info on this, just scroll through my videos on my channel, and I've got how to replace front and rear diff oil. But see, there you go, that's alright. So I just pulled my bung out, okay. And you can see I've just got a little bit of oil starting to dribble out, so that's good. So as I said in my Land Rover problems video, just make sure your center support bearing looks good. Check for cracking in the rubber, and then give her a wobble. Make sure you got no movement up and down. I've got a little bit of side movement now, so a little bit of play in those splines, so I'll be changing my drive shaft after this trip, I reckon. Just because I don't like that at all. It'll get me through this one. Alright, transfer case oil. Level bung with my finger. Level bung's just here. 8mm Allen key again. And yeah, just crack her off, same thing, a little bit of oil coming out the hole. Right, after you check your wheel bearing movement, it is also good to look for any grease. I'm seeing a bit of grease build up around my rear CV boot. So I'll probably just change that CV anyway. I mean, it's still got grease in it, so you could get away with cleaning it out and put a new boot on, but I don't like messing around when I'm 1800 k's away from where I live, so I think that's the best bet. Right, so transmission level. Obviously you don't pull this bung when the engine isn't running, but it is quite tight to crack sometimes. I don't know if it's just because it goes into an alloy housing, but yeah, you can see it can be quite a prick. So what you do is crack it first. Same with any oil change, always crack your fill plug before you crack your drain plug. So we're going to crack this. I'm going to start the engine up. I'm just going to let it idle until transmission temp gets to between 30 and 50 degrees, and then we just see a gentle trickle coming out of here, and that's how you know your transmission level is correct. So I'll do that now. See you in a minute. Alright, so we're now at 38 degrees, the bottom line there, and just start to see that oil trickling out now. There we go. So that's how you check your oil level. It's quite simple, really. Alright, so I done my front diff level last month, so I'm not going to bother. But left hand side of the car, left hand CV shaft entrance, just behind where it goes into the diff, you'll see that 8mm Allen key there. So that's your level bung. Once again, I have already done a video on diff oil changes, so if you want more detail, just check that out. But yeah, I checked this last month, so I'm not going to bother now. It is important to note that, like, so with this trip coming up, it'll be about a 5,000 k trip, so I'll always do my filters and oil before I leave. The only reason I'm not doing it now is because I've done them 3 months ago, and I've only driven this car like 1,000 k's since, so that'll be just a waste of time and money. A fuel filter, especially if you're travelling Australia and you're filling up at country servos, is always a good one to change now, and also keep one as a spare in your car at all times. Yeah. Alright, onto the important part. I've already pulled my engine cover off for you guys. Just do it so you guys can see in there better. I always like to clean these covers before any trip and clean my map sensor. The Shane Shed commented saying that this is possibly your air temperature sensor, so that one there, and then my air filter, my MAF sensor. So I always clean those three before a big trip. Obviously you want to dip your engine oil. For those of you that don't know, that's your dipstick there. For those of you that don't know, you want your oil level to be in between, where's my camera? Just in between here and there. So mine's down a little bit. I'm going to be changing my oil at the end of this week anyway, so not too fussed about that. That was just to show you guys in case you didn't know how to dip your oil. Alright guys, so my belt actually looks pretty good. What you're looking for is any cracks and sort of like wear marks on the ribs, or just worn ribs in general. By ribs I mean those lines that you can see on the belt. If you see them cracking, then you know your belt's pretty worn. I'm going to change mine anyway because it has been 1.5 years since I've changed it. I'm probably going to do it with the fan on, just to show you guys how to do it with the fan on. Obviously if you haven't changed your belt in a while and you haven't been in there, it is good to pull the fan off and just, you know, spin every pulley that's in there. Make sure that there's no noisy bearings or anything like that, because the last thing you want is a noisy or a bearing seizing up on you on the track. and you splitting your belt off. So ideally pop this fan off, you can get in there really nicely. When I change the belt, I normally change the belt with this fan on, just because I'm lazy and it doesn't technically need to be pulled off. But if you're new to it, getting this out of the way gives you a lot of room, and that way you don't forget how the belt goes on, which is another thing I recommend. If you do change this, take a photo of the setup first, which is definitely better with the fan off. So in upcoming videos I'll be doing drive shaft replacement because of that movement I can feel in the spline. I'll just do H7 headlight globe replacements because I'm running the S-Pack Provo Pack headlights, and serpentine belt replacement. Apart from that, in between those videos you're going to see the Opus wheel bearings and service before I go on this trip, and Isuzu D-Max front wheel bearings and general check over as well. Alright, so to the exciting part, what I keep in my car when I travel. I'll get this spanner roll out of the way. I carry an abundance of tools, probably way too many. Also got a Stanley socket set and my battery tools and all that. This spanner here fits my tow ball, my trailer. Keep a couple of straps in there. So I replaced one of my front hub assemblies without actually needing to, just because I do everything in a pair. So that now lives in my car as a spare if required. Spare oil filter. Keep some heat shrink and some hose clamps. This is my old alternator which was failing, but I cleaned it out and now it's working good again, so that stays in there just in case. Spare serpentine belt, part number there, just in case I have dramas with the bearings and the belt spitting. Mine seems to chew through the globes, so I always keep a pair of globes in my car. Decent bottle jack. It's probably the thing that's most neglected out of everything nowadays. No one seems to remember to put a bottle jack in their car, and they go use their factory one and it's not high enough, so that's the big one. This is my CV boot kit. So this fits any of the inners, outers, and then I've also got a CV boot kit for inners as well. Some jumper leads, my air filter, 100 mile an hour tape. This stuff is the best, the 3M tape. You will not regret it. The other thing I keep is, it's probably going to be a bit of work to get to it. Tyre valve kit and a tyre repair kit in my drawers. Very important. Where are they? Oh, I'll pause this. There they are. These bad boys. So these are these are labelled specifically for your A-pillar, but they pretty much fit all of these side plastics and your flares and all of that stuff. So I've got 3 more bags of these in my glove box because if you're doing water crossings and stuff like that, they seem to like to rip your panels off randomly and then your clips break. So that's probably to do with the fact that my car's like 18 years old, but definitely worth keeping on you if you like to four-wheel drive. The only other thing I keep, which I keep in the trailer, is both full front CV shafts. So front and rear, front left, front right CV shafts. I do that because the main knuckle going into the diff I can replace into the rear if I need to. I'll just knock it off and use the CV boot kit. Otherwise, 9 times out of 10, most of your dramas are with front CVs anyway. So I hope this has helped you guys. It has been mentioned a few times in previous videos if I could do a rundown on how I get ready for trips and what parts I use, etc, etc. So if there's anything you think I have missed, or you want me to go into more detail on certain things, then just let me know. I'm more than happy to. And once again, thanks heaps for hitting that 1,000 subscriber mark. I'm ridiculously happy about it, and I've managed to shut up a few Toyota boys in the process. So love yous all. Catch ya. See you later.